Welcome back, wrestling fans, to another heart-pounding dive into the world of WWE, where the drama behind the curtain cuts deeper than any steel chair shot. Tonight, we're pulling back the veil on a moment that sent shockwaves through the WWE universe. Seth Rollins confronting Roman Reigns backstage after a soul-crushing betrayal by the Visionary's own allies on Monday Night Raw. Picture this, a dimly lit hallway, heavy with tension, where two former brothers stand face to face, their history unraveling in a storm of raw emotion. This isn't just a storyline, it's a collision of trust shattered, loyalties tested, and hearts broken. The air backstage at Raw was thick, almost suffocating, as Seth Rollins stormed through the corridors, his face a mask of rage and disbelief. Just hours earlier, he'd been blindsided in the ring, his so-called allies in the Vision turning their backs on him, leaving him bloodied and broken as the crowd roared in shock. The betrayal wasn't just a plot twist, it felt personal, like a dagger driven into the core of who Seth thought he was. His vision blurred with sweat and fury, he pushed past crew members, his boots echoing like war drums, searching for the one man who might understand, Roman Reigns. Roman, the tribal chief, stood alone near a stack of equipment cases, his broad shoulders tense, his eyes distant. He'd seen the betrayal unfold on the monitors, watched as Seth crumpled under the weight of disloyalty, a feeling Roman knew all too well from his own past with the Shield. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze, their shared history, the triumphs, the wars, the brotherhood, all hanging in the balance. Seth's voice cracked as he demanded answers, not from Roman, but from the universe itself. How could they do this to me? Please like, share, and subscribe for more WWE content. Your support keeps us diving deep into the stories that make wrestling more than just a show, it's a saga of human struggle. The confrontation wasn't loud or theatrical, it was raw, almost too real. Seth's hands trembled as he spoke, his usual swagger replaced by a vulnerability that made the crew around them shift uncomfortably. Roman, usually stoic, softened for a split second, his own memories of betrayal flashing across his face. He didn't interrupt, he let Seth pour out his grief, his words tumbling like a man trying to hold together a crumbling world. The Vision's turn wasn't just a wrestling angle, it was a wound, a reminder that even in this scripted world, trust is fragile. Seth's voice grew quieter, but no less intense, as he recounted the moments leading up to the betrayal. He'd trusted his team, believed in their shared dream of dominating WWE, only to be left alone in the ring, the crowd's cheers turning to gasps. The pain wasn't just physical, it was the kind of ache that comes from realizing the people you'd bleed for wouldn't do the same. Roman nodded, his silence louder than words, as if he could feel the weight of Seth's heartbreak echoing his own past wounds. The hallway felt smaller now, the walls closing in as Seth's anger gave way to something heavier, grief. He spoke of the late nights, the sacrifices, the injuries he'd pushed through to build the Vision into something unstoppable. He'd given everything, his body, his trust, his soul, only to watch it collapse in a single moment. Roman, who'd faced his own betrayals, reached out, his hand hovering near Seth's shoulder, hesitant, as if unsure whether to comfort or let the pain breathe. The moment hung heavy, charged with unspoken history. These two men, once brothers in the Shield, had walked through fire together, only to drift apart under the weight of ambition and ego. Now, here they were, connected again by betrayal's cruel sting. Roman finally spoke, his voice low, steady, but laced with empathy. You don't get to choose who breaks you, Seth. But you choose how you rebuild. It wasn't a pep talk, it was truth, forged in Roman's own battles with loyalty and loss. The conversation turned to darker territory, as Seth's words veered into the personal. He spoke of sleepless nights, of the toll wrestling had taken on his body, a knee that never stopped aching, a neck that creaked with every turn. The betrayal felt like a final blow, not just to his career, but to his spirit. He wondered aloud if he could keep going, if the grind was worth it when even his closest allies could turn. The vulnerability was jarring, a reminder that behind the architect, there was a man staring down his own mortality. Roman listened, his face unreadable but his eyes heavy with understanding. He'd faced his own health crises, battles with leukemia that had forced him to confront life beyond the ring. He didn't sugarcoat it for Seth, he didn't offer false promises. Instead, he shared a quiet truth. This business chews up everyone, but it's the ones who keep fighting that leave a legacy. It was a rare glimpse into Roman's own fears, his own nights wondering if the spotlight was worth the scars. The air shifted as Seth brought up the whispers of scandal that had been circling the vision. Rumors of backstage politics, of egos clashing, of promises broken long before the betrayal in the ring. Some said the Vision's turn was planned, a calculated move to boost their own star power at Seth's expense. Others whispered it was personal, a grudge born from jealousy over Seth's relentless drive. The truth was murky, but the pain was clear, etched into every line on Seth's face as he grappled with the idea that his trust had been exploited. Roman didn't have answers, but he offered perspective. He spoke of his own run-ins with scandal, the weight of being the face of WWE while navigating rumors and mistrust. He'd learned to tune out the noise, to focus on what he could control. But for Seth, the noise was deafening, a cacophony of doubt and betrayal that threatened to drown out everything else. The two men stood in silence for a moment, the hum of the arena in the distance a stark contrast to the stillness between them. Seth's voice broke the quiet, softer now, as he spoke of family. Not just the Shield, but his real family, his wife, his daughter, the ones who saw the man behind the persona. The betrayal had shaken him, made him question whether he was failing them by pouring so much into a world that could turn so cold. He confessed to Roman that he hadn't called home yet, couldn't bear to hear the worry in his wife's voice. It was a gut-punch moment, a reminder that these larger-than-life superstars carry the same fears as anyone else. Roman's response was measured, but it carried the weight of someone who'd walked that road. He spoke of his own family, the way his kids grounded him, the way his wife's strength kept him going through his darkest days. He didn't tell Seth what to do, he just shared his truth, letting Seth see that even the tribal chief had moments of doubt. It was a connection forged not in the ring, but in the quiet spaces where wrestlers become human again. The conversation turned to the specter of death, not literal, but the death of dreams, of trust, of the person Seth thought he was. He spoke of the young wrestler who'd clawed his way to the top, full of fire and ambition, and wondered if that man was gone forever. The betrayal had killed something in him, left a void that no championship could fill. Roman didn't try to fix it, he just stood there, a silent anchor, letting Seth grieve the loss of who he'd been. The crew around them had long since scattered, giving the two men space to wrestle with their demons. The hallway felt like a confessional, a place where masks fell away and the truth spilled out. Seth's shoulders slumped, the fight draining out of him as he admitted he didn't know what came next. Would he seek revenge? Would he walk away? The uncertainty was palpable, a heavy fog that hung between them. Roman broke the silence, his voice steady but laced with emotion. He spoke of the Shield, of the bond they'd forged in blood and sweat, a bond that betrayal couldn't erase. He didn't ask Seth to forgive or forget, he just reminded him that some connections run deeper than the pain. It was a moment of grace, a rare glimpse of the man behind the tribal chief, offering not answers but solidarity. Seth nodded, his eyes glistening, not with tears but with something close. He didn't thank Roman, didn't need to. The understanding between them was enough, a quiet pact between two warriors who'd seen the best and worst of this business. Seth turned to walk away, his steps slower now, as if carrying the weight of the night's revelations. Roman watched him go, his own face a mix of resolve and regret, knowing this wasn't the end of Seth's story. The camera, if there had been one, would have lingered on that empty hallway, the echoes of their conversation fading into the hum of the arena. This wasn't a scripted moment, not a scene for the fans, it was real, raw, and human. Seth and Roman, two titans of WWE, had bared their souls, not for glory, but for survival. The betrayal by the Vision wasn't just a storyline, it was a mirror, reflecting the fragility of trust in a world built on spectacle. For the fans watching at home, this moment would have been a reminder that wrestling is more than suplexes and promos. It's a tapestry of human struggle, woven with threads of loyalty, loss, and redemption.